What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, it looks like the premier boxing champion, founder and advisor Al Heyman, better known as the PBC and the brand, as we know, and we got the news that the PBC will indeed be heading over to Amazon Prime to showcase their stable of fighters and their brand and their talent, right? With that said, there's a few fighters that still yet to have a future contract with the PBC. One in particular is undefeated, 3-division world champion, 2-division undisputed world champion, and currently the reigning still unified welterweight world champion, who is widely acknowledged and recognized as the number one best pound for pound fighter in the world in Terence Bud Crawford. Terence Bud Crawford is 40 wins, no losses, no draws, 31 big wins by way of knockout. He is 36 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. With that said, Terence Crawford defeated one of the biggest cash cows the PBC has under their stable, under their banner. That was July 29th, Las Vegas, Nevada, T-Mobile Arena, when he took on and defeated in the highly anticipated massive, mega, undisputed welterweight showdown, now former unified 3-belt WBA, WBC, IBF welterweight world champion superstar boxer Earl the Truth Spence Jr. Earl the Truth Spence Jr. is now 28 wins, 1 loss, no draw, 22 big wins by way of knockout, 33 years of age, 5'9" with a 72-inch arm reach. He was one of the biggest cash cows and one of the biggest faces, or should I say he is one of the biggest faces and one of the biggest cash cows under the PBC banner. He's one of the most popular fighters in boxing currently today. And Terence Crawford absolutely, to be frank and honest, dismantled Errol Spence on July 29th to become a 2-division undisputed world champion. And he did so by dropping Errol Spence in the second round, twice in the 7th round, and then stopping him in the 9th round. With that said, it was a shocking performance, but it showed that, and it was a display of levels, that Terence Crawford was levels above. Now, they have an immediate rematch clause, okay? But Terence Crawford, keep in mind, had parted ways with legendary promoter, top-ranked CEO Bob Arum, and Top Rank and ESPN as a network and a platform. So he was a network promotional free agent. Terence Crawford, he did a one-fight, a one-off deal with BLK Prime as he was a network promotional free agent, and he was trying to negotiate the bigger fight with Errol Spence Jr., which was highly anticipated, the biggest fight in a decade, on paper, the most 50-50 fight if there ever were one, right? But Terence Crawford couldn't strike a deal. So he fought on BLK Prime, a one-off, against David Avanesian, the last homecoming fight he had in his hometown of Omaha, Nebraska. With that said, Terence Crawford, he dominated and knocked out David Avanesian, okay? After he knocked out David Avanesian, he went back into the negotiations with Errol Spence Jr. But again, he struck a deal with Errol Spence Jr., but he's still a network promotional free agent. He got a deal done with Errol Spence, but he's still a network promotional free agent. He beat Errol Spence. Now, he's obligated to have fulfilled one more fight with the PBC because of what? His obligation with the rematch clause with Errol Spence. So it looks like they're going to fight in possibly April, okay? We're going to get Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence in April. And then it looks like it's going to be at 154. But Terence Crawford, as he recently stated, he's not signed with the PBC. So it looks like the PBC are going to be set to offer Terence Crawford a big deal, a multi-fight deal. Because, for one, they need each other. Terence Crawford defeats Errol Spence. Now, obviously, anything is possible in the sport of boxing, and you just never know. Nothing's a foregone conclusion within the sport of boxing. So we don't know what's going to transpire in the rematch. But assuming, for this video's sake, that Terence Crawford defeats Errol Spence in a rematch, well, where does Terence Crawford go? Because at 36 years of age and going to be 37 in 2024, he already has to fight Errol Spence in April. He'll be 37 in September. Terence Crawford wants the marquee, mega lucrative fight deal, okay? With that said, what direction does Terence Crawford go in? Because you got to keep in mind that he's already with Top Rank, and they don't have welterweights. They don't have junior welterweights that fulfill a mega massive marquee fight for Terence Crawford. And Terence Crawford is talking about facing off ultimately against 4-division world champion Mexican superstar boxer, who is widely acknowledged as one of the faces, if not the face of the sport of boxing, and the undisputed super middleweight world champion in Saul Canelo Alvarez. Saul Canelo Alvarez is 60 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 big wins by way of knockout. He is 33 years of age, 5'8" with a 70-inch arm reach. Canelo Alvarez has a 2-fight deal left on the PBC with the PBC, and it's more than likely that he's going to re-sign with the PBC as they did this massive deal with this Amazon Prime. So with that said, to get that fight, why would they offer their services to Terence Crawford if he's not indeed under their banner? They're not going to let him come in and just take money from them and part ways. Again, if he beats Errol Spence and goes and fights on a different network and a different platform, right? Why are they going to do another one-off with Canelo Alvarez? Canelo Alvarez, we already heard that Canelo Alvarez is more than likely going to face off against Jamal Charlo, undefeated 2-division world champion, who is the reigning WBC middleweight world champion. He's more than likely going to face off against Jamal Charlo in his next fight, which is going to be May 4th, Cinco de Mayo weekend. And then he wants to fight David Benavidez, or the world wants him to fight David Benavidez in September. But let's say after September, there's a big fight to be made for Terence Crawford, okay, against, Canelo Alvarez. Well, at that point in time, where's Canelo Alvarez going to fight? More than likely with Amazon Prime and the PBC. Where's Terence Crawford going to fight? And here's the thing. The fans and the networks are going to call for Canelo Alvarez versus David Benavidez in September. And the World Boxing Council, better known as WBC, President Mauricio Suleiman, board of 32 members, are already mandating that fight for September. So if he fights them in September, that being Canelo and David Benavidez, who's the undefeated 2-time WBC super middleweight world champion, well then, what direction is Terence Crawford going to do for the remainder of the year? Because there's a big fight for him against Jamal Charlo, who's still the unified junior middleweight world champion, former undisputed junior middleweight world champion, and 3-time junior middleweight world champion. But he's with the PBC. There's big fights to be made for Terence Crawford, but they're all with the PBC. So the only big fight I could see Terence Crawford possibly making in the future that's not with the PBC is a fight with undefeated Mexican superstar boxer Virgil Ortiz Jr., who's with Golden Boy Promotions, Oscar De La Hoya, and DAZN. But again, that's another one-off. And we don't know what the future holds for Virgil Ortiz Jr., who's been sick and his career is in limbo. Now, he's set to make a ring return, I believe, in January, but we still don't know. He was signed 3 times to fight Amanda Stanionis, and it fell through 3 times because of his health. So what direction is Terence Crawford going to go in from this point forward? And if he beats Errol Spence, he's a mega massive star. Terence Crawford is. And his stock is going to rise immensely. So with that said, it makes sense to do a multi-fight deal with the PBC and the PBC for both sides, not just Terence Crawford. So we saw Canelo Alvarez sign a $100 million deal with the PBC, right? 3-fight deal. Why can't Terence Crawford do such a thing? Now, maybe it's not $100 million. Maybe it's not $30 million a fight, but a guaranteed $15 million for 2 or 3 fights, because Terence Crawford beats Errol Spence, his stock is rising. Now if Canelo Alvarez beats David Benavidez and beats Jamal Charlo, a fight with Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez is another million pay-per-view buy fight. You can't let that walk away. So with that said, it makes sense for the PBC as well, business-wise, to sign Terence Crawford because his stock has risen. Now, prior to the Errol Spence fight, Terence Crawford's highest pay-per-view was 150,000 pay-per-view buys. But since the Errol Spence fight, Terence Crawford's stock has grown in leaps and bounds. He's becoming a household name. The world is knowing who Terence Crawford is after he dismantled Errol Spence. And so his stock has risen. And now is the time, seeing as though he may have 2 to 3 fights left. So a 2-fight deal worth $50 million, $25 million a fight is suffice. But expect to see Terence Crawford with a multi-fight deal and a big fight contract with the PBC and Amazon as they sign with Amazon and they have a new budget. So Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence rematch in April is going to want to stay active. They got to capitalize on his momentum. And if he's a network promotional free agent, well, we got to lock him up, because you lock him up and possibly a fight with Jerron Boots Ennis, Jermell Charlo, right? The likes of those types of fighters. And then we have to see how this unfolds with Canelo Alvarez and possibly a fight with Canelo Alvarez afterwards. So let's see how this unfolds and plays out. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. So all I got for y'all. I'm gone. Peace.